Okay, and we are live. We are coming at y'all from different ends of the world. I'm in LA today, here in my wonderful hotel room in Los Angeles, California, from the FareHarbor meetup that we've been doing the last 2 days. Day one of the meetup, we met our clients, we networked with clients in the area. Day two, we had one-on-ones with them. And I also am joined by the wonderful Vincent, all the way in Phuket, Thailand. Vincent, how are you doing today? Like I told you before we started recording, your background is eating my background up. It looks incredible out there in Thailand today.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today. Behind me, that's the Khao Phraya National Park here in the south of the island. It's the last rainforest here in Phuket. We had a bit of rain last night as well, so it's a really nice rainforest morning here on the island.
Wow. I bet nice is severely downplaying it. It's incredible. I was telling Vincent before the recording, I was begging FareHarbor to send me out there. I said, I don't think I can film this remote. I was ready to lie. I was like, I don't know if Vincent has internet out there. I probably have to go visit the elephants. So maybe I'll get them next time, Vincent. But thank you for joining me remotely today. Vincent of Phuket Elephant Sanctuary. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about the sanctuary. You're new on FareHarbor, so I'm so excited to have you on our software and have you with me today, and so excited to learn about you.
So I joined the Phuket Elephant Sanctuary in 2018, a couple of years after it had opened in 2016. My background is in tourism and hospitality. I've worked here in Phuket for the past 14 years. Started working initially in different hotels and resorts, primarily in sales and marketing roles. And that's what led me to the Phuket Elephant Sanctuary 6 years ago when they were slowly starting to stop and were looking for someone to drive the marketing to raise more awareness about ethical elephant tourism and the work that we do here. And so I've been very blessed to already work with the sanctuary for the last 6 years. We've had a difficult time during the pandemic, of course, but we got through it. We were one of the few camps that actually made it through the pandemic here in Phuket. And the last 2 years have been quite good again for us. Tourism is recovering quite strongly here in Thailand. We've been very blessed with good visitor numbers and had an excellent high season just behind us.
When is the high season for y'all? What time of year?
Typically from mid-December to end of March. That's the high season when most visitors are coming to Phuket. From April to October, we have more rain. So we have also fewer visitors on the island. But then in July and August, usually we have a little peak again due to the school holidays in many of our markets.
Interesting. I warned you of this before we started recording, Vincent. I think a lot of our listeners, including myself, just finished watching White Lotus this season. If you ask me, an intellectual, it was an incredible season. I loved this season. And I think a lot of tourists also loved this season, which took place in Thailand, for those who don't know. Did that cause some people to fly over and check out the sanctuary?
I think generally it created a big buzz again for Thailand and the beautiful tropical islands here, especially in the south. White Lotus was shot on Samui Island, so that's on the other side of the country. It's a 1-hour flight from Phuket. I think they have seen quite an impact due to the season. Here in Phuket, I'm not sure. I haven't seen any strong impact due to the show, but it's a great promotion for Thailand in general.
What do you think about this post-pandemic world of tourism? You said that it was obviously rough for you in the pandemic, to say the least, for most operators around the world, right? How did you recover from that? What are some actions you did that you would describe as resilience to get through that and ultimately bounce back?
The reason why we made it through the pandemic, it's probably a combination of a little bit of luck and also some creativity and business acumen on our side. First of all, we had a few very good years before the pandemic. We opened in 2016. So we had a few good years. We were able to save up for emergencies, and we really had to tap into those savings during the pandemic because there were virtually no visitors for 1.5 years. We rely heavily on international travelers. We are not that popular yet with the local market. And so it was very tough for us. We had almost no visitors for a long time. But we got creative. For instance, I was shooting some short films that we sold online to people who couldn't physically visit us, but still wanted to know more about our work and learn what's going on with the elephants. So we sold those short films online. We had a few smaller initiatives where people could send us $30 and we would use that money to buy ingredients for the supplementary rice balls that we make for the older elephants. We would then shoot little videos of how we made those rice balls and fed them to the elephants and sent that back to whoever supported us. Our team got creative, making some bracelets and other little arts and crafts that we were able to sell online. So those were little initiatives that kept us busy and also helped us a little bit financially. But I would be lying if I said it was easy. It was very tough, especially towards the end. So we're happy that the pandemic ended at some point, and Phuket was also one of the first destinations in Thailand that opened up as part of a sandbox model. So we were one of the first provinces in Thailand that saw international visitors again once that sandbox launched.
Do you think the elephants were happy to see people?
I think so. At our place, the elephants definitely don't mind the visitors. We can always keep a respectful distance from them. But the place that we created here really resembles their natural habitat. We're lucky to be right next to the Karpatero National Park. Behind me, we have water from a nearby waterfall that flows through our land. Beautiful vegetation, lots of space for the elephants to roam around, to bathe freely, to really live naturally. And so I think for the elephants, nothing really changed during the pandemic. They maybe noticed that there were fewer visitors, but their lives just went on. And luckily, we were able to keep all of the elephants and still provide them with a happy home here during the pandemic.
Oh, well, I'm sure luck had some to do with it, but it sounds like you and your team were incredibly, like you said, savvy, especially with that business acumen piece. So congratulations for that. I definitely don't want to underplay that. Maybe some luck, but it sure was a lot of skill. I feel like I just quoted the Fort Minor song, but it's true, and 100% of the power of will, as the kids say. That's a really good segue, though, into talking about the sanctuary itself before we get into the growth of it all. Tell me a little bit about your elephants. Tell me about what makes the sanctuary so special. You gave me a great description before we started. I'd love to hear that again for our listeners.
Let me start with our founder. Our founder is a local from the northeast here in Phuket. His name is Montri Toten. He grew up in this neighborhood. The area where we're now, that's family land, has been in the family for many generations. But Mr. Montri, he worked in elephant tourism elsewhere for a long time, and he even owned an elephant riding camp in the past in the south of Ireland. 10 years ago, before we opened, there was very little awareness about more ethical approaches to elephant tourism. And at some point, he got inspired by the model of the Elephant Nature Park in Chiang Mai, in the north of Thailand, which has been around for almost 30 years. And its founder, Kun Lek, who's also very well known worldwide for her conservation work, she inspired our founder to start Phuket's first ethical elephant sanctuary. So it was in 2016. He decided to close his riding camp, and the 2 elephants that were working with him in that riding camp were the first that he moved here to this beautiful area that belonged to his family already. It started very small with these 2 elephants. We had a little visitor lounge. We did not expect more than 10, 15 people to visit a day, but we were very blessed with tourists coming to visit us and supporting our work, especially because we were the first ethical elephant sanctuary on the island. And so since then, we've been able to rescue many elephants from riding camps, from shows, from the logging industry, where they have to work very hard and are often mistreated. And here we provide them with a new, more peaceful home in a natural setting where they can just live freely, roam around, forage for their own food, socialize with other elephants, and just rediscover the joy of being elephants.
I love that. I am regretting getting a 4K camera because I'm like, I'm emotional. I have tears in my eyes. For those who are listening, it just sounds amazing to give these elephants such a chance. Here at FareHarbor, we're very passionate about animal welfare. I think it's incredible that not only do you like qualify under those policies, but it sounds like you really go above and beyond for caring for these elephants. Can you go into a little bit of the ethics of it all? For instance, before we started recording, I was like, wow, it must be great to start the day and ride an elephant. And you were kindly like, actually, we don't do that, which I think was a great example of like educating me especially as hopefully one day a tourist of Thailand going to see these beautiful, majestic creatures on how we can respect them and take care of them and take care of their habitat. I've gone to a number of Renaissance fairs where I see people riding elephants in the driest area of Denver. And I always get nervous, like, are these elephants okay? They're a long way from where they came from, I can imagine. And so talk to me a little bit of the ethics of it all and how the Phuket Elephant Sanctuary really separates from, competitors or maybe other so-called sanctuaries ethically.
An elephant is a wild animal. It's a very powerful, strong, intelligent wild animal. And when we see these elephants give rides to tourists or perform tricks in shows or spend an hour in the water bathing and showering with visitors, the elephants typically need to be tamed and trained to be able to engage in these interactions that are against their instincts and their nature. And so this training and taming often comes with abuse. Traditionally, many years ago, young elephants were taken from the wild, separated from their mothers, and tortured for many weeks so that their will was completely crushed, and they could then be trained by humans to work in logging camps and to engage in tourist activities. Over the last years, I think awareness for ethical elephant tourism has increased a lot. So many visitors are aware that that riding an elephant or bathing with elephants and seeing them perform tricks is not always in their best interest. And so we created a very simple philosophy. We wanted the elephants to go back to an area that's closely aligned to their natural habitat and their natural way of life. And that's why we created this 30-acre jungle, essentially, where this is the home of the elephants. They roam freely, they forage freely, they almost live as they would in the wild. And our tourists are mere visitors who come and observe them in their homes and learn about them and educate themselves about animal welfare and ethical elephant tourism.
It is nice to hear that there's more ethics coming into animal involved tourism. And I do think the average consumer, the average tourist shopping for these experiences is more concerned about that. I think we've all seen the videos of people here in the US. We have like Yellowstone National Park. And I think we've all seen the videos of people getting so close to those wild animals. And you just want to shake those people like, hello, that is not a pet. Why is your 5-year-old kid trying to pet the bison, So I can relate to what you're saying. And it's really inspiring. And I like to hear that common sense is becoming more common for all of us, but especially tourists, admiring wild animals in hopefully what will be their natural habitat. In that increase of visitors you're having, and we talked a little bit before about your peak seasons, do you handle a really high volume of guests, and how many guests do you typically see during that average peak season?
So in general, Phuket is very seasonal. During the low season, it's quite tough. We often have days with 20, 30, maximum 40 visitors. But then the high season sees quite a big number of visitors. We have, over the years, increased our capacity, and we can welcome in a day up to 300 visitors. This is possible because we have 30 acres of land. It's mostly observation based. So during our tours, we split up these visitors into smaller, intimate groups. Each group is guided by a tour guide. And so we walk in different directions. We explore the sanctuary in smaller groups, always keep a distance from the elephants, and our guides educate the tourists about our work and about the elephants that they encounter during the tour. But for us, it's fairly easy to scale up. We're not a hotel. We don't need to build rooms. We just need to prepare more tables and chairs to welcome visitors with some snacks in the morning to provide our vegetarian lunch. Have a space to watch a video documentary at the beginning of the tour, which is also very important to prepare them for their visit. But yeah, so we've scaled up quite a bit over the last 8 years and can welcome up to 300 visitors a day. That's split between a morning and an afternoon with different programs. So there's never 300 people in the park at once, but in a day we can do around 300.
Yes, we're all just running into 300 people running into the wild to go pet an elephant is what I'm picturing now and getting. That sounds great, and congratulations on scaling. With scaling comes a lot of change. And Vincent, you just came on to FareHarbor. I would love to hear the story of how it's been. You're very new to our software. Let's start from the before times. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced before coming to FareHarbor? Were you taking online bookings? What did it look like before coming to us?
We started back in 2016 as a small family business. As I mentioned, we were not really expecting more than 10, 15 visitors a day. A lot of it was through Facebook and other social media channels. Initially on the website, there was just a contact form to reach out for opportunities to visit. Then in 2018, when we were slowly starting to grow a little bit, we had a custom reservation management system built. It was a fairly basic system, but it worked for us. We were able to manage reservations of the 2 tours that we had at the time. But it was not the most robust system, and certainly had its limitations. So there was no easy way to, for instance, decrease or increase capacities when needed. Definitely no integration with OTAs, no marketing opportunities whatsoever. Also, no customization opportunities, very limited support. Often we had system downtimes. So looking back, I'm surprised that we managed to work with this for so many years. It worked, but it wasn't easy. It put a lot of stress on our team, made processes inefficient. But we went for it with several years. To be honest, personally, I was also not really aware at the time of the different solutions out there. I had worked in hotels and was familiar with some of the hotel reservation management systems, but it didn't really come to my mind that there's also dedicated solutions for activity providers such as us. And it was only when Sam from FareHarbor reached out, I think it was at the beginning of last year already, that I became more aware of the possibilities and became more and more intrigued of exploring a new reservation management system. And it was a good time because after COVID, we saw a big increase in visitor numbers. And so I wanted to make sure that before the last high season, that we had something robust in place to manage the increase in visitor numbers that we expected.
And it's so funny hearing you talk about this because it sounds a lot like when you like break up with an ex-boyfriend and you look back and you're like, how did I do that for so long? Is how it sounds like. You broke up with your old reservation system and you found something better. And I love that for you. How has it been leveraging the system now? As you say, you're getting more and more online bookings. I read before our session, your first quarter online sales alone went up 13% after FareHarbor implementation. Tell me a little bit about that. You're quite the savvy guy, I'm getting the impression of. So I'm sure that's a lot to do with a streamlined online reservation system, but it sounds like you may have had some other growth strategies in the works. Kind of tell me a little bit about those things.
I think in general, a lot of the growth also has to do with the general tourism recovery in Thailand. Last year, in 2024, tourist arrivals grew by over 20% compared to the previous year. So our growth has been somewhat in line with the general trend for Phuket as a destination. But especially since we were able to implement FareHarbor at the end of November, so just on time for our peak season, it really helped us to manage this increase in visitor numbers over the peak season. It was super helpful to be able to close certain capacities or open up new capacities depending on how many tour guides we had available to take care of our guests. That really helped us to maximize revenue through the peak season. And also with a fairly small reservations team, the system helped us a lot with the OTA integration. So we no longer had to manually manage every TripAdvisor and get your guide booking. So that was very helpful as well. It reduced a lot of stress for our reservations team. And that was especially important because just before we launched FareHarbor, we also listed with a few additional OTAs. So we had more partners, more volumes from these partners, and it was really helpful to have that integration with many of them to streamline the reservation process and booking management.
How has it been? Tell me a little bit about your OTA experience. I'm very intrigued because the relationship with OTAs, to say the least, varies between operator to operator and especially region to region. So, how do you feel about OTAs? Do you feel that you have like a healthy mix in your channel mix where you're getting your bookings from, whether it's directly online or with OTAs, or do you feel they're necessary? What's your take on OTAs?
So in general, we are very happy and proud of our booking source mix. Roughly half of our bookings are direct, which I think is amazing. We are very blessed with visitors who help us share our mission on social media, who share excellent reviews of their experience. We don't do any paid advertising, so word of mouth is super important for us. And we're also quite strong on social media. So that's what helps us get a lot of direct bookings. For OTAs, it's roughly 25 to 30% of the mix. Also a super important piece. I mentioned earlier, reviews are super essential for us. A lot of these reviews happen on TripAdvisor, and naturally, people, once they read the reviews on TripAdvisor, they will easily then book their experience on TripAdvisor as well. I think also because there's a lot of confusion in the market. 8 years ago when we opened, we were the only ethical elephant sanctuary on the island, so it was relatively easy to find us. Now it's a bit more complicated. There are many other places on the island with very similar names, somewhat similar experiences. So we're actually very grateful for instance, for TripAdvisor or Get Your Guide, so that people who read the excellent reviews can then book it directly, and they know they booked the experience where they have seen these amazing reviews and not accidentally book something else through a Google search and maybe end up at another place and then end up being disappointed. So I think it's super important to have that relationship with these OTAs. And we've worked with TripAdvisor for a long time, and then also added a few additional OTAs in the last year.
Thank you for that breakdown. I love the healthy mix of it all. And super interesting to hear that you don't do any paid ads. I am sure those elephants are modeling up a storm on your social media account. I'll have to check that out after the episode and give you a follow. I'm going to cry every day looking at those beautiful animals on my Instagram feed. I already know. Tell me a little bit about, as you've seen more bookings come in with this spike in tourism, with getting more direct online bookings. Tell me about efficiency. So with more bookings comes more people naturally. How has streamlining your operations with FareHarbor affected check-ins, confirmation emails, etc.?
So a big pain point before we launched FareHarbor was the arrival experience, especially in the mornings when we have quite a big number of visitors. We have a meeting point that's 5 minutes away from the sanctuary. That's where everyone arrives and has to do a check-in where they provide their names, passport numbers for insurance, tell us about their food allergies, and then also receive a sticker so that we can easily allocate visitors to different groups. This was always difficult in the past when we had a lot of visitors. It caused a lot of traffic. It was not always the best arrival experience. And that's also one of the reasons why we wanted to work with FareHarbor to optimize this process, to make it faster. In the past, also, people had to only pay a deposit online and then still pay the balance upon arrival. That was another limitation of our old reservation system. And so with FareHarbor, we did a few things. First of all, we enabled an option for people to pay for their visit upfront, 100%, so that they didn't have to worry about any additional balance payments upon arrival, which is inconvenient for visitors and took a lot of time to process for us as well. We were able to also integrate with Werewolf, an online waiver solution that integrates with FareHarbor. This way, we are now able to get a lot of the information that we need before the visitor actually arrives. So names of all visitors, passport numbers, dietary requirements, all of that is asked before they arrive. And the completion rate of these waivers is actually quite high. That means now when visitors arrive, for most of them, we have all the information that we need. We can quickly check them in, give them a sticker, and off they go. So that has really already improved the arrival experience for visitors, and also reduced the stress on our tour reception team, who has to check in sometimes up to 150 people within 45 minutes to 1 hour in the morning. So huge improvement there.
Awesome. It's great to hear that you don't have as much of the headache when it comes to checking people in, as I travel as often as I can. And when I do travel, there's nothing worse than me being like, am I going to the right place? Am I fully paid up? When did it charge my card? Which card did it charge? I can't find the email. Who's this from? So obviously, as I always say, I sip the FareHarbor Kool-Aid, and I think that we do all of those things really well, from the confirmation email to when I get there. I easily can have a QR code if you're implementing that in your check-in system. For those who might be listening to this because they're trying to qualify what reservation system might be right for them, what questions do you think they should ask themselves, and why for you was the answer of that question FareHarbor?
Mm-hmm. As I mentioned earlier, I was not very up to speed and not very aware about the different solutions out there until Sam reached out last year. And so when he reached out, obviously I did my due diligence and started also exploring other reservation management system, realized that there's a whole world of solutions out there. So I did an initial benchmark and looked at, what are the core features that each solution provides, what are customer reviews of the solutions, and that way I was already quite quickly able to shortlist FareHarbor among a few others. And I think there's a few things that made us really confident in our decision to go with FareHarbor. The first one was just the excellent care by Sam and the team. They made an effort to actually come down here and visit us, spent half a day with me, really trying to understand our business, our challenges, like the challenges that I mentioned earlier, like what's happening during the check-in, why does it take so long, where are the inefficiencies, how could this be solved, really understanding our business model, our customer mix, and really then coming with tailor-made solutions on how FareHarbor could improve that. I did not see that with any other solution. I had a lot of demos, a lot of exploratory calls, but there was no one who offered to come and meet us or have a dedicated session with us to really try to deeply understand our business. So that was really important to us. And then also, this was also a good timing because we were in quite desperate need to also relaunch our website. The website had been as old as the reservation system, was quite outdated, similar challenges, difficult to update, limited functionalities and features, not the best integration with the reservation management system. And so when I learned that FareHarbor can actually also help us with developing the website and customizing it to a certain degree to meet our needs, that was another huge selling point for us. So I would say those are the two main things that really tipped the scale for us and why we went with them. In general, if someone is looking for a new reservation management system, I would maybe not everyone needs a new website, but I think the customer support is a really important piece. Like when you roll out a new reservation management system, that's kind of a big deal. There's a lot of change management involved. You have a team who needs to learn the new software, so it needs to be intuitive. And it's not only the reservations team, it can also affect how you manage your transfers, how you manage your different experiences. So a lot of people actually are involved in this, and it's good to have a bit of hand holding. And so we were super happy that the team actually came down for an entire week to do this hand holding with us and to be on site when we rolled out the system and help us with any questions and challenges that happened in the first few days. And those challenges will undoubtedly happen with any reservation system. It went very smooth, but there's always questions. Okay, how do I have to manage this? How do I process this payment? How do I read this manifest, etc. If you don't have someone next to you to explain all of that, it can be a very stressful experience. And for us, it wasn't, because we had that support on site. And then in general, I think most other solutions, they also offer OTA integration, some marketing support. But so the customer support, the new website, those were really, really key pieces for us.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. Talk to me a little bit about the Thai of it all. Do you get support in both? It sounds like you speak English, obviously. Do you get that support from FareHarbor in English and Thai? And how does that work across your distribution? Does it translate the way that you need it to?
I believe FareHarbor is quite new to the Thai market, right? But they have already added Thai support staff. To be honest, at the moment, there's not a significant need for us. Most of the correspondence that we need, that we do in terms of requesting support, it goes through me, so it's typically in English. My Thai, unfortunately, is not very great. But yeah, I believe FareHarbor has Thai support staff already in place and can help other providers where maybe the team does need a little bit more local language support.
Amazing. Thank you for indulging me in the FareHarbor of it all. It is growth powered by FareHarbor after all, but it's also growth powered by Vincent and growth powered by your team over there in Phuket. So as we close the episode down, let's talk about the not so humble brag, as I call it. What maybe some data metrics you're comfortable with sharing? I would love to hear the not so humble brag from you, your business, your team. What are you proud of in the growth that you've seen? We talked earlier in the episode how you've seen 13% increase in sales after FareHarbor's implementation. Feel free to take this question wherever you feel it takes you, whether it's with FareHarbor you're seeing this growth, or FareHarbor plays a part in the growth, or if it's, it's all Vincent. And I will take that W. I'll let you take the floor.
So we're very proud of what we have achieved, thanks to the support of our visitors in these last 8 years. We started as a very small family-owned business with only 2 elephants and very small visitor numbers 8 years ago. But because people really believe in what we do and support our work, we've been able to scale up over these last 8 years. We have been able to rescue many more elephants with the support from visitors. And I think a lot of that has to do with us being a family-owned business and still operating like a small family-owned business. So decisions can be made quite quickly. If we need to increase capacities, launch new programs, or make any changes, we can do that in a quite agile way, which has helped us to adapt in different situations. I think the creativity of our team and the passion of our team is what helped us get through the pandemic. We're very proud that we were one of the very, very few places in Phuket, if not in Thailand, that did not have to close down during the pandemic. We were able to keep going, to keep all the elephants here, and to keep providing them with a safe and happy home here at Phuket Elephant Sanctuary. We're also very proud that since tourism has recovered and many other elephant experiences have opened up again here in Phuket, we have been able to keep our market share, if not increase our market share. As I mentioned earlier, our visitor numbers have gone up steadily over the last 2 years since the end of the pandemic. And I think the core reason why we're successful is because we always stay true to our mission. We have never given in to demands of visitors for more interaction with the elephants, different experiences. We always think what's best for the elephants, how can we provide the best level of elephant welfare, and that's how we innovate. That's why we built a huge canopy walkway before and during the pandemic that further increased the distance between visitors and elephants, but at the same time provided an amazing experience for visitors to observe the elephants as they roam around in the jungle below. That's why we built an elephant hospital last year, which again is primarily to benefit the elephants, to provide better medical care, but again offers an amazing opportunity for visitors to see what it takes to provide veterinary care to an elephant, and the work that we do at the hospital to help our elephants and in the future also other elephants living and working on the island. And obviously FareHarbor also played a crucial role in our growth, especially in the last few months. I'm not sure that we would have been able to manage the number of visitors that we had during the peak season without having this very efficient solution in place. And I'm also very confident that with our new website, which just launched 2.5 weeks ago, hopefully with the FareHarbor distribution network that we will be onboarded on in the next few months, I think these will be 2 additional pieces that will really help us drive a lot of growth in 2025 and beyond.
Yay, I love that. Thank you for that. Do you think that you've seen, because of the operational efficiency that you've seen since being onboarded to FareHarbor, that there's any trickle down to an improvement in the guest experience since you've switched over?
Definitely. So one thing that I didn't mention earlier is that we also had huge issues with confirmation emails in the past. Often these emails were not going out to visitors, so people called us, emailed us, hey, did my reservation come through? A lot of manual work on our side, again, to reconfirm bookings manually via email. Now with FareHarbor, we don't have any such issues anymore. The booking process on the website is very smooth. Confirmation emails are being sent out. Making payments is very easy for our visitors. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the whole check-in experience has improved thanks to FareHarbor and also thanks to the integration that FareHarbor enabled with Werewolf, so that we get all the information that visitors need in advance. It's a lot less stressful for visitors as well. They can just provide information. Most of them do it when they're in the car on the way to our sanctuary or in a taxi. And so when they arrive, there's no more stress looking for passports, writing down all the information, telling us about their food requirements. All of this is done in advance. And now I feel the experience really starts as visitors arrive at our meeting point. Before it felt a little bit like you still have to go through all this hassle at our meeting point, and then the experience only starts when you arrive at the sanctuary. But we want the experience to start as soon as you have the first touch point with our team at the meeting point, and FareHarbor, with its different integrations and customization solutions, is really helping us to create this better arrival experience and to make sure that people really feel that the experience starts as soon as they arrive.
That's amazing. I am manifesting as hard as I've ever manifested in my life that I will get to experience this sometime in the very, very, very near future. This sounds amazing. This entire recording, I've been hearing like the sounds of the birds and like the rustling of the trees in the background, and I'm like, I'm looking for a flight. It's immediately, it has to happen soon. So hopefully I get to meet you in person, Vincent. It sounds like you have a magical operation there. And I think I speak for all of the listeners and all of the animal lovers throughout the world that what you and your team do is valuable. It means something. You're leaving a lasting impression and legacy in the sanctuary. You provide these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful animals. So thank you for that, and thank you for your time today. Before I send you off, is there any message you have out there? We talked a lot about the post-pandemic blues and how tough it has been on our industry bouncing back from that and other natural disasters that have been happening even in your side of the world as of recently. Do you have any message of hope or any message of resilience for those who are struggling to keep going in their small businesses?
The pandemic has really shown us how important it is to be prepared and to be resilient. Natural disasters keep happening, will happen more frequently moving forward. And as sad as it is, the next disaster is just waiting to happen. So it's very important to be prepared. Try to save up for emergencies like we did before the pandemic. Try to diversify the experiences, the geographic mix of your customers, ideally, and be creative. If something happens, there's always things that you can do to keep going, and to make it through emergencies. So be creative and be resilient and be prepared.
Amazing. Vincent, thank you so much for choosing FareHarbor, and thank you so much for taking an hour out of your day with me. It's been really special, and I sincerely appreciate it. Where can the people find you? Maybe drop your website, which is brand new, as well as your Instagram handle.
Sure. So our website is PhuketElephantSanctuary.org. And our Instagram handle is simply Phuket Elephant Sanctuary.
Perfect. Thanks again, Vincent, for being here. And thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, and I mean, how could you not? And I'm sure as I'm speaking, there's the picture of the cutest elephant on the screen. So if you enjoyed this episode like I did, please like, subscribe, comment what you want to hear from next, or comment maybe your favorite type of elephant. I'm sure there's different types, or when you're going to go to Thailand, maybe. And be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and I will catch you on the next episode. Again, Vincent, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening, listeners. We will catch you next time. See you later. Thanks, Vincent.
Thanks for having me. Bye.